So have you ever watched an exciting sports match of some type? Maybe basketball, soccer, football. Do you often struggle to find a match for your socks in the laundry? What about what do you usually do during a coffee break at work? And have you ever had to break a bad habit? Well, if you notice that a couple of these words seem to be duplicated or being used in different ways, but they were the same word, today we will find out how understanding the use of the same word as both a noun and a verb is quite easy. This knowledge can help you raise your level of communication in tech and business environments when your English is your second or third or more language, right? So welcome everyone and good day to all. This is another learning session from Business English Success Strategies. Our purpose is to use our years of experience in TEFL and ESL to help you master English communications. We do this by providing tips, strategies, and lessons on a regular basis to help you improve your spoken business English. In this session, our topic is double duty, verbs and nouns in English. This is part of an ongoing series about how and when to use a word that is both a noun and a verb. Now, these lessons are most appropriate for intermediate and advanced users, but of course, everyone is welcome. And the format of this lesson is to define a term and present it with a short but real-world example of some type. Okay, let's get started. So navigating English complexity, or what we think of as English complexity, which actually is not as complex as you might think. So today we're going to unravel a little bit of this so-called linguistic complexity. We're going to explore 15 common English words that have dual roles as verbs and nouns, and we're going to look at their diverse meanings. You're going to be able to gain confidence in navigating this sort of linguistic intricacy. You'll be able to better communicate in professional or in travel situations or in personal growth, just in general in your social conversation. So now let's take a little closer look at dual functionality of words and diverse word roles. We have verbs and nouns, words that function differently that are based on usage as verbs and nouns. So we're going to explore that a little bit. Meaning variations. Words have distinct meanings as verbs and nouns. So they're not going to be the same thing. They have distinct meanings. Okay. Then we're going to have what might be some potential confusion. So we'll point that out. There are some linguistic nuances that can lead to misunderstandings. And so where possible, we'll point that out in our short session together. And then we're going to have illustrative, or as some English speakers say, illustrative examples that show how word usage alters meanings for learners. First up, park. So noun usage, park as a public area. So in English, we refer to a park or we're going to the park. This is a public area, right? And this word park has diverse functions. So as a noun, it represents a public recreational area, normally with grass and trees and such, as in the children are playing in the park, right? Illustrating this sort of dual role in English. Next up, we have verb usage. This is the park as to leave a vehicle in a particular location. So park in English is also a verb for vehicle placement. You can park your car in the garage, demonstrates dual usage dynamics. Now we have book. Okay, so book as a noun. It denotes a set of written or printed pages with a cover. Of course, it can be electronic, but officially, that's what we're going to say. And as an example, she borrowed a book from the library. Now, definition of book as a verb. Booking a reservation. Book can mean reserving a table or room. Uh, for example, I need to book a table for dinner tonight. Dual role words add depth to English language for ESL learners. You will seem more communicative and more in control of your use of English. Let's take a look at play. So a dramatic work is a play. We refer to that, any type of dramatic work, something that occurs, actors on stage, Shakespeare, what have you. And generally we're talking about it as a live event. And that's a play, and that is a noun. So play can mean a dramatic work for actors. And an example of how we might use it would be, we watched a play. But it also can mean recreation. Play as a verb. So this is the double duty in action. Play can refer to uh, language or engaging in recreation, like the kids love to play outside. It also functions as a noun, as in, we went to see a play at the theater. Let's look at box. So we're going to understand it as a noun and a verb very quickly. A container versus fighting. So the word box has a dual role in English. It can be a container with a lid or mean fighting with fists. She put photos in a box. He learned to box, which means he learned to fight with his fists. Now let's look at watch. So in noun usage, we generally are using watch as a timepiece, some device, wristwatch or what have you, as a timepiece. So the word watch embodies dual roles as a noun, representing, as I said, like a wristwatch or other type of timepiece, and then as a verb, signifying attentive observation, showcasing once again English's intriguing linguistic versatility. So when you're really looking at something intently, we say you're watching it. But if it's something that you're using to tell time, right, then it becomes a noun, and we refer to the actual device you're using. Just a little bit more about watch as observing, all right? Watch can act as both a noun and a verb, as I said, and here's an example. Let's watch a movie tonight, all right? So you always want to keep an eye out for these dual role words, because it actually changes the meaning of what someone may be saying to you or you're trying to say, because if you use it incorrectly, the sentence that you are using or hearing makes no sense. Let's take a look at fly. So let's explore a little bit about the versatility of fly. It has a dual role, of course. It can be a winged insect and also a verb describing aerial movement. So fly as a noun denotes a winged insect. As a verb, it describes the act of moving through the air, like birds fly south. Now let's take a look at light. And a light is versatile, right? It has a dual meaning, of course. Light demonstrates versatility, serving as both a noun and a verb. In one case, it illuminates sight, right? It allows you to see. The more light you have, the better you'll be able to read or see the room or see something else that you're looking at. Now, that's as a noun, but it also could be something that you use to ignite a flame or fire, right? So once again, it ignites flames or starts a fire as a verb, right? So very different. Date. So once again, in English, date as a noun might have a social or romantic context. It refers to a specific time or a social or romantic meeting. You can say, well, the date of such and such an event is going to be whenever. Or I have a date with someone, right? That's referring to a romantic event. So once again, adds depth to your use of English. So date as a verb signifies consistent romantic involvement, like they have been dating for 6 months, right? They haven't been telling each other what's on the calendar. They've been together and involved romantically for this period of time. So once again, it's going to be crucial that you understand the dual role so you can use this word correctly. Now let's take a look at show. We have different meanings of show, of course. There's two sides of show. Show embodies versatility as both a noun and a verb because it denotes a performance or display. We watched a great show, right? There was some kind of event of entertainment of some type. It also means to display something, right? Please show me your new phone, right? So that's a display. You want the other person to present their phone to you so you can look at it, right? Or they can demonstrate it to you. Then we have rock. So in English, rock embodies a solid mineral material and an action of moving back and forth. Here's two examples. He threw a rock into the pond. But then another example, she rocked the baby to sleep. In the first sentence, this one, it acts as a noun. In the second sentence, is acting as a verb. Then we have break. As a noun, it's a pause in activities. As a verb, it means to separate something into pieces, both in a good and a bad way, right? So as an example, let's take a break for lunch. So this is a noun, break for lunch. As a verb, we want to be careful not to break the vase, or as some English speakers say, the vase. Both are the same, both are correct. Now let's take a look at face. Face as a noun is basically the front of your head. It's the thing that has your eyes and your nose and your lips. As an example, she has a smile on her face. As a verb, it now means to confront or deal with something. For example, he had to face the consequences, right? He had to deal with the consequences, confront the consequences. He had to face the consequences. Then there is sign. So another very versatile word, functioning as a noun and a verb. As a noun, it indicates something, for example, in this case, the example sentence is, the sign said no parking, right? It's a physical thing. As a verb, it means writing one's name. For example, please sign your name here. Then we have match. Match can be a noun for a contest, like a football match. It can be a verb for correspondence, like the curtains contain, the curtains match the carpet, right? In that case, it's a verb. So as a noun, right, it's pointing to something that is going to happen. As a verb, in this case, it is used to show that you're going to, in the example we have here, something that's going to basically collaborate or work with something, match the carpet. In this case here, a little bit more about match. Match in English embodies harmony. The two people who are dating are a great match, whether as a noun or in a sports context or verb and design. Trip. Now, as a noun, is speaking about a journey or an excursion. They went on a trip to Paris. But as a verb, it can be used for something such as you stumbled. As an example, be careful not to trip over the wire. So in conclusion, mastering words with multiple meanings, right? You want to look at understanding the words that can be both verbs and nouns. This is going to be key. And context shapes the interpretations. So practice using these 15 examples I shared with you in this lesson to enhance your comprehension and avoid misunderstandings. Continuous language acquisition, right? In this case, this is a very general practice, but key practice. You always want to look at having continuous progression, so be consistent in your practice. You want to apply words in various contexts, so you want to understand context. And then you want to always engage and communicate regularly to the extent possible for fluency. And then, of course, once again, consistent practice, regular application solidifies understanding and proficiency in language. So as we said, if you found this content useful, then please like, subscribe, and share this video. And I look forward to seeing you next time on our joint linguistic adventure. Take care, everyone.